Welcome back to day 17 of the 30-day coding challenge. Today, we're going to be building this sweet landing page. If you're new here, hi, my name is Zoe. I'm a software engineer and former university professor that loves teaching folks how to code. If you're interested in learning how to code or starting a career in front-end web development, check out that first link in the description below for more information about the bootcamp that I offer. But without further ado, let's hop into today's challenge. So today we're just going to be building this fairly straightforward landing page. Being able to build a landing page is something that's so important for a front-end developer because it's something that a lot of businesses will have you or commission you to do just so that they can get their business up and running. So let's go ahead and get this started. I've gone ahead and spun up the app as usual. I've downloaded the files from Front End Mentor. Again, this is one of their premium challenges, so you do have to have a subscription to access the assets. But I do think if you're trying to get into front end development and if you're really serious about the career and if you can afford it, of course, it's definitely worth the investment. So yeah, I got the assets from Front End Mentor. I'll leave a link to that down in the description below. And then I'm using this starter Material UI Next.js TypeScript app router starter, which I'll also link in the description below. So I haven't done anything to it yet, just spun it up. So I'm going to go ahead and modify some styles in here. I want to go ahead and set the background color to whatever color that page is. So I'm going to set the body and the HTML to be whatever color this is. So let's see if we can grab that desktop. I think it's this cream or the cream white we're going to be using here. So let's try and grab that. Yeah, let's grab that and use that as the background color for now. We can always change it if it's not right. But yeah, being able to just build a quick landing page I think is super important. So let's see how we can speed through this, not necessarily in a rushed fashion, but just in a way that's going to make it look good and worthwhile for our audience. So when I'm looking at a landing page, I want to really think about the entirety of the design. So if you notice here, the top section is light, and then there's this darker lower footer here at the bottom. But that impacts how I set my background and my background colors. So I've gone ahead and set the body background color to this this light color, but I'm also going to want to set it to this darker cream color, the lower footer section. So that's something to be to consider, to be thinking about when you're building. And then also the other bit is that there is this there's this container that we're obviously using for everything that's within the app. So thinking about using a container from the get-go will help with a lot of that stuff. So yeah, just two things I'm thinking about as I'm about to dive in and build this project. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop a container in this section of the app and leave the box on the outside so I can put the footer outside of the container later, or maybe do some stylings with it outside. So I'm just leaving myself room to do that. So I'm going to have the container here, and sorry, it's going to be the max width is going to be large, and then let's start by building the nav. So I'm going to create a folder here, because the other thing is when you're building a landing page for a client, you want to make sure that you keep your files very organized, because usually they're going to ask for changes, and if everything's kind of spaghetti code, it's going to be difficult and hard to maintain when you do have to come back and make those changes. So we're going to create a box, and then I'm guessing this is probably it's probably a logo, so we're going to use that. The other thing I'm looking at is how often am I using the same style. So for instance, the logo is repeated twice, but it's probably just an image. But that could be its own component. So we might make a component for the logo. And then these two buttons, the request beta access, they're similar in style, but they're not exactly the same. So I think we can use a base for that and make our code a little bit more semantic by doing that. So I'm going to create another component, and it's going to be logo.tsx, and what it's just going to be is that image from Next.js. And so the source, let's see if we have it, would be in here in the images files. Yeah, we have a logo, so I'm just going to copy that path. Logo, and because it's the same size, I can just use whatever size. I think it said 78 by 24. Or width is going to be 78, and that's going to be our logo. So we can now import the logo into the nav logo, and just use that right off the bat. So just clean up our code, keep things nice and organized. Then the next thing is we want to create this button, right? So again, I'm going to create a button style. I'm going to call it beta button. You can call it whatever you want. I just do know that when I call it button, it does interfere with the material UI button import, so I try to avoid that, just to make my life a little bit easier. All right, so we're going to say button, and let's take a look at it. So there are going to be two versions of this button. There's like a light button and a dark version. So we'll say interface props, and we'll say, should I call it version? We'll say color scheme, and color scheme is going to be a string. We'll say color scheme, and we'll take that. Those are props. So depending on the color scheme, we're going to display different colors for the button. So for the color, let's just start somewhere. With the color, it's going to be dark blue. I'm guessing this is maybe the same dark blue. Yeah, dark blue is going to be for the background. So actually what I'm going to do is create two quick constants. We're going to say dark blue is this. And I'm going to say, what color is this? I guess it's that cream. I think that's that cream color. Const cream equals that. All right, and we're gonna interchange between those two colors. So we're gonna say the color of the text is color scheme, and we can also do another quick check. We say const get color scheme. We'll say if color scheme equals light, we can return light, else return dark. Or how would we do this? No, let's not do it like that. Let's just say color scheme equals light. If yes, then return dark blue for the color so we can read the text, else return cream. And that'll be our check. We'll just do color scheme equals light, and that'll be our check. So the color, we can do the same thing with the background color. Light, if yes, the background color is going to be cream. Otherwise, the background color is going to be dark blue. And then the border. The border is probably going to be the same. Or no, if it's light, it's going to have a border. Color light. Border is going to be one pixel solid dark blue. Otherwise, it's not going to have a border. And what else? And then we just need the general styles, I think. So looks like it's just normal text. Maybe some font weight could be added. Font weight 600. We'll add some padding. Maybe 1 rem on top, 2 rem on the left and right. Maybe we can give it a max width, or maybe we'll give it a fixed width of 219. Oops. Or you could do like a certain width of the page. You could maybe say 5 view width, if that's preferable, just something that, so they're both consistent there. So we can do that there. And then the text is actually going to be the same. So we can just put in, you can hard code the text, but the text could be another property that you take in depending on how many times you're going to use this button, right? So that'll be our beta button. We're going to bring the beta button into the nav. Save that, and then I'm going to say color scheme for the nav is going to be light. The other thing I want to do is turn this outer box into a flex box, And then I'm going to have them spread across the page by setting the justify content property to be space between. So we'll save that. Next thing we want to do is actually import our nav so we can see it. So let's bring it into our main page. Save that, and let's see what we have so far. All right, cool. So we have our suite, we have request beta access. I think we do need to override a couple of styles still, but it's looking not too bad. Let's go back to the button. We'll say text transform is going to be none. And then the width, I think probably 10 view width, maybe 20 or 15. 15 view width. Yeah, that looks a lot better. What else is missing? What else is missing? I think actually that's probably the wrong cream color. It should be the same cream color. That's the background. So let me copy that and set that here. Oh no, that's the same cream color as the background. So that the background isn't being set to that cream color. Body HTML. Interesting. Not sure why that's not being set. Oh, you know what it is? I put it in quotes. That's why. I was like, why is this not working? There we go. Okay, good. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad. I think maybe just a little less padding on the button, and we should be good. Yeah, that's a little bit better. All right, so we have the button. I think we're going to add a little bit of margin to the top of this nav. Maybe the top and the bottom. Say margin, top and bottom. Oh, sorry, that is on the button itself. We want it on the nav. Okay, good. And then we can move on to the next bit. So let's build out our hero next. So I'll create a new file, hero.tsx. And you can also make folders within this as well to make your life a little bit easier if you know you're going to be using, like you have a nav section, stuff's only in the nav, just to make your life a little bit easier. So we'll see if we need to do that as we add more components to this. So we'll say box. And then, okay, so it's going to be this, these, okay. So what I'm thinking right now is there like, it's like there are two layers. I'm wondering whether to absolutely place the image or the text. I think probably the image I'll try and absolutely place. And then have the text be in its own layer. I think that's probably the best approach. So yeah, taking a minute to sit and think about how you're going to implement something is really important. Again, you might not come up with the right implementation if you do think about it, but if you don't think about it, you're almost definitely not going to come up with the right implementation. So let's, okay, I think it's this image we want to use, so I'll copy the relative path for that. And we're going to start with the image. Oops. Thought we grabbed the relative path. There we go. So that's the image. We're going to say alt equals phone. And I want to try something. I want to see if I set the height to like 100, width to 100, and then if I override it in the style, if that works. So we'll say height is 40 view height, and width is, let's say, 20 view width. And I'll drop the hero on the main page so we can take a look. That actually might have worked. Let's see if we keep modifying it, if it changes. Okay, yeah, so that's working. Great. So yeah, I wanted to do something that was a little bit more dynamic and responsive, but because Next.js requires you to set the height and the width, it wasn't giving me that option. So this is great. Now we can actually be a little bit more flexible with what we're doing. So we'll use that. That actually doesn't look too bad. And again, we can change it if we need to. Then I want to go ahead and set the position to be absolute. Because yeah, it's going to be absolutely placed. And then maybe I'll set the right to be maybe 200. Or maybe about 700. Okay, somewhere in the middle, 500. Yeah, because it's a little bit off to the right. So yeah, I think that's good for that. I think we'll leave that there and keep going. So the next bit now is I'm going to make a little box here, and this box is going to contain all of our text. So it's going to be these two, a super solution and these numbers here. And I want to see what else. What other images we have? Pattern, curve line. So there's a kind of curve line we could implement as well. We'll see how much stress that gives us. All right, so we'll say a super solution for your business. So this is going to be our H1. So we'll put in a typography element here. We'll say variant equals H1. We'll drop in the text. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bold tags for this. So I'm going to say, set the color first to this. The size of the text is probably going to be, there we go, heading XL, 72. So we'll say font size 72 pixels. I'm not sure if that's what it was already. Oh, and it's going to give me an error because I haven't imported it correctly. Good. Okay. Also probably need to set this maybe to -1 so it goes to the back. Or 0. Okay. Or maybe I set the Z index of this. So it comes to the front. No, yeah, I think -1. Let's see. It's just interesting that it's cutting off all of that. Maybe if I say background color, none. No, interesting. Or say background none. It's interesting that it still cuts it off. Not sure why. But okay, we'll keep going forward from there. All right, so super solution for your business. I think the font weight is probably natively going to be 500. And then what we'll do is we'll use the bold tag for super solution and business. We could also use spans and set it, but seeing as the bold tag does everything we needed to do in one, probably just makes more sense to use that. So super solution for your business. Awesome. We then have this box here, and so also I'm going to make a separate box within the box to divide the left and the right. So this, then we're going to have another typography element. Variant is going to just be the body, and we'll grab this text, and we're going to grab, that's going to be our color. Oops, save that. Cool, have that. And then we'll drop in our button. And we can just drop in our beta button. So we'll say beta button. And then we'll say color scheme is going to be dark. We'll save that. And awesome, already styled, so it was useful making that beta button. So that's going to be the left side. Then we want to make the right side. So let's make another box. And it's going to be all of these numbers. So it's going to be 2K companies, 8 languages, 1.2 million leads. And I'm going to actually create another component for this. I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to say stat.tsx. Because it's pretty much the same styling for each of them. So I'm going to create a box. And I want to take in a title and the, or a number and a label. Actually, not number, a statistic. Yeah. And because they're both going to be strings, and a label. Oops, label string. Let's save that. Statistic, label. And then we'll have 2 typography elements. The first one is going to display the statistic. Oops. And the statistic is going to be this dark blue color. And the height is 48. And it's going to be bold, a little bold. So we have this, oops, and I put that all on the wrong piece. That's supposed to go here. Cool. Then for the second typography element, that's going to be the label. I think it's probably going to be the same color, but I could be wrong. Could be that. Oh, it's a gray color. Never mind. It's going to be the gray color. Gray. Text transform is going to be small. Text transform. Uppercase, and it's 1 rem, so we'll leave that as is. But yeah, that should be good. So we'll just loop through those within our hero. So I'm just going to create a data.json, because again, you never know, the client might start asking for additional information, additional data to be added. So by having all your data in one place, it just makes your life a little bit easier. So we'll say export const equals an array of objects that the statistic is going to be 2K plus label is going to be companies. Next one, oh, you know what? I could just copy and paste this so I don't have to keep spelling statistic. 8 languages. 8 languages. 1.2 million leads. Awesome. So we have our stats. So within this box here, what I want to do is map over stats. So I'll say stats, import that from data, stats.map over every stat, stat. And then we want to go ahead and return a, what do we call it? A stat. And that's going to take in a statistic, which will be stat.statistic. And it's going to take in a label, which is going to be stat.label. And it's going to need a key, which we'll use the label. Key equals stat.label, because those are unique identifiers in this case. Cool. So that looks pretty good. We have those there, so that's looking pretty decent. Oh, I set the height. I was like, why is it so small? Because I set the height, not the font size. All right, there we go. A lot better. I don't like that it's overshadowing this. We might have to fix that, but we'll keep pushing forward with the hero for now. All right, so in this hero, let's look at the structure here. So we have the box that is holding both of these. So what I want to do with that is set that to be a flex box. So say set that to display a flex. So now left and right, that's exactly what we want to happen. And then now within these boxes, so this is the left-hand side typography box, we'll go ahead and also set that to a display of flex. But then we'll say set the flex direction to be column. So just kind of how it is right now. But I want to do this so I can do justified content space between and hopefully have them space out on the page. Yeah, a little bit. I think we need to probably set the height of this box for it to work fully. So we'll set the height to be, let's say 60 view height. About 60% of the page. Looks about right. Maybe 50 view height. And actually, you know what? Rather than setting it here, let's see if it works there. It might kind of go against what I'm doing. Oh no, that worked. Okay, good. So yeah, that'll be the height for that. And then the width, or no, the width, yeah, I do want to set the width of this. Or maybe set the flex. What if I set it to flex of 1? Does that make it any smaller? So flex of 0.5. It does make it a lot smaller. Okay. Let's do flex of 0.75. So I'm setting the flex of this box to be smaller. And then the width of the box, I think I should also set. So we'll say width. I wonder if I do 100% if that works. So I don't have to take the whole page. No. Width, let's do 80 view width. And I set these to... Oh, you know what? I set those to display flex, but I didn't set it to justify content space between. So I'm wondering why it's not pushing the two apart, but I did not set that property. There we go. That's exactly what I want. All right, perfect. So that looks good. I think, yeah, generally speaking, that all looks good. Maybe we can set a bit of a margin on top of the whole hero, or of this part of the hero, I should say. Or even, you know what we could do? We could say display flex, 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 align items in the center. Maybe I do need, oh, maybe the height of this needs to be, yeah, that's it. All right, set that height. All right, cool. I'm wondering what I can do with this image. Like if I can just move it within this box, if it would show up. No. So I put it on top, it shows up. But I don't want it to go on top of my text. I wonder if there's like a background position prop. Background position. Okay. Top, left, center. Okay, let's try this. Let's try setting it rather than the image. Comment that out. Let's try setting it as a background position situation. So we'll say background image is URL, I believe, and that. Okay, good. So far so good. We'll say background repeat, no repeat. And then background position, let's borrow something like this. So say background position, let's do 60% and 10%, just to see what it does there. Okay, yeah, and that looks pretty good. Pretty much what we want there. So I think that was the better move there, to set it for the background rather than trying to make it its own image. So learn something new every day. Let's see, background size. I think we want to do contain. Yeah, perfect, perfect. And is 60% good? Yeah, 60% is pretty decent. So I'm pretty content with that. I think we can move on to the next part of the landing page. So we have our hero. That is good to go. We can close that out. But as you can see, we start creating new components, and it starts to get slowly more and more complicated. All right, so the next piece we want to build is kind of like our last major component, and then we'll build the footer and it'll be done. It's this, I don't know, it's not quite a CTA. It's just like an info card sort of thing with a picture of the CEO. So I'll just create a new file and we'll call it info. We'll save that. And we'll start by creating a box. And now for this, so there's the picture of the CEO and the text. So I guess we're going to want to do an image on one side. And we're going to do an image because it's meant to be prominent in the frame. And then it's going to be image Jeremy, I guess is his name, large. And it doesn't appear that there are any background pictures. Pattern blur, pattern carved line, pattern blur. I'm not quite sure what pattern blur is, so I might have to take a look at that. But let's use image Jeremy large for this image. Alt equals CEO. And then now that we know our trick, we can just set it to whatever, just so it doesn't give us an error. And then we can set the style to be, height is what, like 40 view height. Width, I wonder if we can just set the width to 100%. That would be happy. And we should also bring it into our page so we have it. Okay, no, we do not want 100% width on that. Let's say 15 view width. Okay, that's not too bad. The quality's not super great. Maybe that's why they gave us so many different images, but that's not too bad. So we'll roll with that for now. And then we need to do this background piece right here. So we're going to set the background to be this dark blue. Going to be that. And this is going to be, we do want it to be a bit of a limited height. And I think I might end up doing the position absolute with this. So maybe everything we learned from the last one we can apply here. We're going to say height is going to be, let's say 35 view height, and width. Width is going to be 100%. And it said not spelled right either, so that's that too. All right, cool. So that looks pretty good. Next thing we're gonna want to do is want to curve the edges on this. Don't know if that's the next thing, but that's the next thing we're gonna do. We'll say border radius is gonna be 1 rem. And we want to place Jeremy. We'll say bottom 0. Not quite right. Top 0. Oh no, that's not quite right either. Bottom 0 was a lot closer. All right, we'll worry about placing Jeremy in a minute. Let's drop in our other text. So I'll create another box here, and I'll use a typography element for our text. Typography. Yeah, because maybe I don't have to absolutely position him. What if I just set the bottom to 0? No, that has absolutely no effect. All right, we'll figure out a good way to do this. But we have our text, so I'm gonna set this to be an H2. Oops. Variant equals H2. Drop that in there. And the color is gonna be this color. The size is going to be heading large, 46. Or 48, sorry. Yeah, 3 around. And the font weight should be normal, but then for work should be bold. So we'll do the same trick using the B tag and make that bold. And then we'll set this. This will be the next typography element. We're gonna drop that in there. It's gonna be that cream color. I think it's slightly different color. Color's gonna be this. And then we have title of the CEO, or the name, I guess. $800. And then we'll have, CMO. Whoops. Oh well. We'll drop that in there. Change this, CMO. And that'll be that. Okay, so we have this second box. I'm just gonna set it to display flex. And flex direction of column. And justify content of space between. That's going to be that. Okay, so it's showing up down there. What I want to do here then is I also want to set this to display of flex so that it shows up on the right side. Perfect. Oh, and I do need to set the colors for those last two. The color for this is going to be this color. And the color for this is going to be this color. Oops. Okay, cool. Not too bad. The other piece we want to do here with these two, we want to say display flex, justify content, space between. I don't want this one to be so big. This like section, so I'm gonna try and set it. Let's see if the flex 1 should be default, so maybe flex 0.5. Yeah, let's try 0.5. That's much closer to what we want actually. So I think we should go with that. Maybe I'll just add in some padding to this whole thing. Yeah, it looks 88 pixels of padding, so let's do that. Which is 5.5 RAM. Or maybe the padding actually goes in this box. It looks like there's margin here, so let's maybe set this to margin. There we go. I like that a lot better. And maybe he's a bit bigger Then height 589. Height. Width 359. Okay, that's much bigger. The quality is really terrible. I wonder if there's a better image. We could use a WebP. Oh, large at 2x. Oh, okay, let's do that. Refresh and see if it gets any better. Okay, still kind of rough. Maybe that's something we can't fix. But the height is probably going to be closer to 50 view height. I think that's what we've discovered there. And the width is going to be closer to 20 view width, maybe 60 view height. Yeah, that looks a lot closer to what we're trying to go for. And then this, the height of this inner box here, probably closer to 50 view height. And then we can increase the margin as well, probably 88 pixels. Maybe set that to 0.75. No, let's leave that at 0.5. Okay, so it's getting there. I mean, it kind of is in the flow, you know? I think we could actually move the margin back to this outer box now that we've done that and possibly set it to padding. But it's more, No, let's leave it back where it was. And then we'll set some padding. We'll say margin. Or maybe we could say align self center or justify self center, something like that. Or just align self flex end. There we go. That's looking better. All right. And we'll say justify self center. That did not do anything. Let's see if we can set it with a margin. Or margin left. Let's just do margin left, because really that's what I'm after. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty content with that. So we'll leave that as it is. There is this one image that I'm not quite sure if it's pattern blur, like if we're meant to use that for the little like background thing that's going on with him. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create another image. And I'm going to grab that. I'm going to use that. Say alt equals blur. Height 100, width 100. Let's see if it shows up. Okay, so yeah, this maybe is that thing that's going on behind him. I'm wondering how I would set this. Maybe if I wrap the two in a box. And then copy some of this. Align self, flex end. Okay, good. Oh, okay, that didn't work. Flex end. And then maybe set, how would I do this? position absolute. And then just set the left. Don't set a margin left. Don't do that. Probably needs to be 20 as well. Position relative. Say top or bottom. 50%. Bottom. We'll say left. Try that. What if I put it be in front or before this? Oh, nope, that did not work. That was the opposite of what I wanted to happen. Say z index -1. Oh no, it disappears completely. What if I did? I wonder if, can you do a background image on a background image? Okay, that kind of actually works. Let's say background, oops, ground, repeat, no repeat. Let's take out this extraneous box. Background position, 10%, 25%, 100%. Okay, let's go 40%. That's pretty much it. And then how do I get the edges to be, oh, maybe background. Background size, let's say contain. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. Wow, put a background image on a background image. Fantastic. Maybe say 50%. And 50%. Oh, it totally disappears. Background. Where is it? It's like low. 70%. What do we do for background size? Contain, cover, 30%. Okay, let's try a percentage for the size. Let's try 50%. Let's try 150%. That's too much. Let's try 100%. Okay, maybe 120%. 130%. Yeah, so 130 is probably about where I start to see the edges. Maybe 120%. So it's there. It's not as prominent. Maybe I could make the image itself a little bit wider. Whoops, too wide. 22 view width. You know, give it a little bit more for the background size. But that's pretty cool that we can do that. So yeah, we'll leave that there. The other thing we want to do obviously is separate the top from the bottom, separate these sections. So I think, how am I going to do this? I think what I'm going to do is just set some margin on this info box. So I'll say margin, top and bottom's like 10 view height. Maybe more than, or, and I'll set margin on, maybe that's something I should have. I made like a container box for each of the, the boxes there. Okay, I'm just gonna put it on the info box, but I'm gonna make it more. I'm gonna make it 20 view height. Okay, cool. So that's not bad. And then I think maybe we set the margin top. Whoops. Because the bottom margin is not that big, but the margin top is going to be, let's say 40 view height. Like just really 30. It's going to be 30 view height. Just really push it away. So we have that visual space. And then we have the footer. And now this comes to that background image issue, which I'm not quite sure how to deal with. Because it kind of starts at the bottom of the page and goes up halfway. So let's start building out the footer. And I recognize that I'm going to have to put the footer here outside of the container. And probably just borrow this in the footer as the wrapper. Or no, I want to set a box. Then I want to do a container. So I'll do those two. And I want the background color of that to be that. So I'll say. And I feel like I might have some issues with this, but let's start and go forward. So the footer is imported. Oh, I should probably give it shape and size and stuff. We'll say width, or height will be, I don't know, what? 40 view height. Width will be 100%. Okay, not bad so far. Yeah, there's a little bit of margin all around. I wonder if I can set that to 0. And that's just due to our CSS reset styles. I might just have to deal with that. I don't know if I set margin 0 here, if it's gonna throw everything off. Okay, it didn't throw it off too badly. So that worked. All right, good. So I'll take out this margin 0 here. And yeah, that's just part of the CSS reset. Like once I took out all the reset, it took out stuff that was supposed to be helpful. And then what do we do now? I think maybe we want to make it absolutely position. Position absolute. Bottom 0. Okay, so it went up. Okay, so it did the bottom 0 of the first page. Got it. Which is not what we want to do. I wonder if we need to put the footer within this info box for what I'm trying to do to work. Let's try that, see if that works. So put it inside info. Oops. Take it out of page. Okay. That's with bottom 0? No, that didn't work. All right, let's leave it how it is. Get it out of there. Let's take a look at how positioning works. Static, relative. For the normal flow, remove for the normal flow, removed. I think maybe, maybe fixed is what we want to do. Oops, fixed. Yeah, no, not what we got to do. I think absolute. And then the bottom, I think that's just the issue I'm having is setting the bottom. Bottom 100%. No, I didn't set it at all. Bottom 0, puts it there. Bottom 100, moves it up. All right, so let's go bottom minus 1,000. I'm trying to avoid absolute like hard coding this because then it's going to give us an issue later. And then it disappears entirely. All right, I'm not loving this. I think I'm just gonna leave this as like a lower element for now, and if we can move it up, we'll move it up. If not, we'll leave it as it is. So we have our container here. We're gonna show our logo. We're going to, I'm gonna say max width equals large, and then SX equals display flex, and justify content is going to be space between. So we have our logo. We have a little tiny copyright thing here. Oops, typography. And then we have our 3 icons. So that's going to be a little box with little images. I'm going to grab the images from there. It's icon Facebook. Oops. Equals social icon. Did we not import image? Next image. So this should be typography. Okay, and then we just need 3 of them. And it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Save that. Okay, cool. Looks pretty good. I think we can make it even smaller. Oh, that's not even setting the width. All right, we'll say width. Good. Good. justify content space between, align items, flex, end, or that, no, center. Oh, it's because this is not the full thing. We set height here. Yeah, then if I set it to flex end, that would work. Give it a little bit of margin, padding, 4rem, 5rem, top and bottom 5rem. That looks pretty decent. And then I don't know if I should just translate this whole thing up. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Maybe I don't set the background color on this. Don't set the background color. Don't set the height. Or height is like 10 view height. 10 view height, you know, it's something really small. And then there's just this weird box in the background, which would be cool. Would be cool to do. What if I wrap it in another box? Just trying something. No, it can't get bigger than that. So maybe if the info was outside of the container. Yeah, and then I put a container within it. Right, background size and then background position, but I don't think it's gonna let me move it down. Yeah, no, I don't think so. So I think I'm just gonna skip out on that background color there, as like a separate element. What else? Oh yeah, I'm gonna put that back where it belongs. Oh yeah, that was, I think I changed it to 30. That's what that was. Yeah, I think I'm gonna skip it as a separate element. I'm just gonna put the footer. I'm just gonna set the footer to that. Line items. Center. And then I'll set the margin top to that. Margin bottom to 0. Yeah, so we still have the footer. It's still a little bit different, but it's just not exactly what we were looking for. So not bad. But yeah, this was just a quick look at how, if you were going to build a landing page, you know, you could do it in a fairly organized manner, keeping your page pretty clean and, you know, labeling all your components and, you know, working with the styles and data and information provided you from your client. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like. If you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe down below. And if you want to see the rest of the videos in this challenge, I'll leave a link to the playlist up here so you can check those out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.